What's up, guys? Welcome to day 2 of the Talon Cup. It is, of course, the semi-final. We have Alweer Geboelie taking on Mango Juice. Going to be quite a hype match with Toxic Crocs obviously winning the semi-final just before this one. My name is Trinok, and with me is Blur. How are you doing today, dude?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
I'm not too bad. I'm just trying to stop the cat from eating my pens.
It's a good way to start the day. But
Yeah, you know.
another good way to start the day is looking at the semi-final. We got the top team from Group 1 coming out here in Alweer Geboelie, and the second team, Mango Juice, coming out to try and show why they deserve to be in the final.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tight match. There's some power players on both teams. You got like a Luke who's going to rock that DPS. Bandit is just an insane wrecking ball, or tank in general. Mito also DPS on Mango Juice's side. It's like a clash of titans here. Yeah,
no, it's definitely going to be those are a couple of players definitely to watch. But you know, alongside them, you have a couple of lesser known players who really have the opportunity to showcase what they can do here. Players like Shadow Script, players like Maestro. That's, you know, in the scene they've been around, they've been playing for teams, but you know, they haven't been on the same platform as Luke and Bandits, you know, who could really deliver something special today.
I mean, that's what the great thing of this cup is you take the lower SR guys, the guys who don't often get to play in the top leagues of the VS League, the normal leagues, I don't know, Male State hasn't happened in a while, but even Male State League, and they get to play with these guys, and it's a really great learning experience. So, I like you said, it's a great moment for them to show themselves and like come out popping just as much as what the top dogs usually do.
Yeah, and I think in this situation, you're definitely going to see a lot of these players have really good team experience. I think there's not actually any of them in this game right now that aren't currently signed to teams. So you don't even have the issue of them not being familiar with playing in the team environment. This is although they come from different places, they'll be on a similar wavelength.
Yeah, they all know how to at least work in that team environment. None of them are completely out of the loop, I guess.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we're seeing the teams get ready to go in now. They're going to be heading into Busan.
Yeah, nice little control point to start it off. Busan's such a beautiful map, so I'm excited to get into this one. Going straight to it. What do you expect to see here?
Well, I'm obviously expecting to see... I'm not sure what to see out of Condi and Luke right now, because they've been pretty flexible throughout the day, but maybe this is where they start to take it seriously, start to really just show why they are players at the top of their game. From the side of Bandit, though, they've been pretty meta-aware. They've been, you know, pretty happy to run the Orisa Sigma, run the Reaper, run the Mei, because, you know, although you've got this like absolute master or grandmaster, I suppose, on Wrecking Ball, he recognized that sometimes that's not what the team needs.
Yeah, I mean, but you don't become a grandmaster by one tricking. It's about understanding the game at its core fundamentals, and to do that you need to know when your hero is going to be valuable or not.
And evidently here he thinks that his hero will be valuable, because they'll be coming out with a Wrecking Ball and a Winston. A bit of a dive comp here, a bit of a bunker bust as well, since they're running the Sombra and the Genji, two big ults that can absolutely swing the momentum of a team fight. But on the other side, the Orisa Sigma and a Widowmaker and a Doomfist coming out from Condi and Luke. Two heroes that they're very strong in. Condi obviously a very strong hit scan player, and Luke known for his projectile play, known for his Doomfist play as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they approach this. I mean, especially running that double shield as well. The dive might be quite effective in getting behind it if Banner can get some disruption going. It's all going to be on Condi and Luke to try get pop heads from the get-go.
You can see immediately Bandit going and just zoning Condi completely out of the fight. They know who their target men are.
Yeah, very well played there as Condi goes down, Bandit gets in there. A little bit of just mayhem happening in this team fight, leaving just the two tanks left alive. Talon, the native, goes down, and Maestro cannot hold for much longer. This first flip going to the lads of Mango.
And I thought I'd be very surprised. Yeah, you already see Condi switching off that Widowmaker onto the Reaper. Luke coming out onto the Sombra. He's going to shut down Bandit to start with. And, you know, that's really well played coming out from Mango Juice there to just completely shut down the momentum of Alweer Geboelie. Just completely cut the wind right out of their sails.
Alright, here we go for the engage. Alweer Geboelie trying to go in slick. It's taken out. Nice little hack there from like a Luke. Gets him low without shield. Just Sadishka trying to remain here with the Genji going in. He does have the Dragon Bait available. Not probably the best time to use it. Bandit comes into support. Banshee gets taken out. Mito trying to counter with his own Sombra. Bandit left alone. Flip has not yet happened, and there we go. finally Alweer Geboelie with a nice entrance get it.
Yeah, I think you see from Alweer Geboelie now, they've got that Reaper to kind of undermine the dive, and I'd be very surprised to see Slick stay on the Winston for too long from here. But, you know, here, Mango Juice are going to be coming back with a couple of ults. They're coming back with the Blade, they're coming back with the Minefield, and that could really start to swing the fight back in their favor.
Yeah, got a nice ult potential up here. I mean, Mita's going to have that EMP soon. That could be huge, but Like Luke's going to have his own as they go in for this next fight. Banning goes in with the power drive, goes to engage. Minefield is out, and there's the EMP. That's a 6-man hack from Like Luke, and Alweer Geboelie going to be looking to capitalize on this one. Slick's still alive, being smoked down by that coalition as Reaper pops his ultimate and finishes off this team fight.
You know, although it's a fight win for them, you'd actually say that's a little bit of an overcommitment of ults there. The EMP coming out very early in the fight, that was very good to give them an advantage in the fight and to completely shut down anything Bandit was trying to do with that minefield. But at the end of it, the sound barrier coming out, you know, when the fight was effectively already won, and probably the Death Blossom you'd say as well.
Yeah, I mean, Death Blossom was more just assault on the wound, not really necessary. Now you don't have that, so how do you defend against this with all the outs being popped? For Mango Juice, there's the primal range just batting away. Condi not looking good, being focused down by that Dragon Blade. Zenora low on health skates away with an inch of her life, and now Like Luke just trying to make this work for his team. Gets rid of Bandit, but is going to be overwhelmed very soon. Shadow Strip too low on health, might not want to challenge Like Luke, who can get some value from this, and unfortunately Slick just takes the brunt of that machine gun.
Yeah, and there we're seeing the consequence of using all your ults in one fight. They didn't have anything to kind of push against the aggression of Mango Juice, and unfortunately it just, you know, ended up with them losing the fight. Coming to the next fight now.
Ooh, well, coming to the next fight now, Mito just pops off a nice EMP and finishes it before it can really get started.
You know, but you know, now you're sitting in a situation where Alweer Geboelie coming in for probably a last fight if you're looking at 30% left on the clock. You know, they have a bunch of ults to use and they have to make sure they use them well and win this fight out.
Yeah, 4 ultimates up, it's not going to be an easy fight for Mango Juice.
No, absolutely not, especially only with the coalescence in response and the minefield so able to be shut down by that EMP.
Oh, the music has been played. Pale Native goes straight in, and there's once again Condi wasting that Death Blossom. Fight was over, and they do get the flip regardless of the wasted ults.
I'd say even maybe the EMP was a little bit much there, because you know the Sigma ult had actually popped 2 at the beginning of the fight. And coming in now, they're going to be looking for a last-second touch to just try and get them into overtime and pull the enemy team to point.
I mean, they have Mito and the minefield as well, just to get on there, get the overtime going. Slick manages to bounce in, but gets taken out by Like Luke, and Maestro gets rid of that support of Miss Jones. So now it's a very one-sided fight. If your Mango Juice is not where you want to be, the Dragon Blade is available, and Shadow Script can come in, but Tugel says not today. There is no dragons left for you to have in this fight. Just Bandit left, trying to get from behind. Needs to get rid of Maestro if he's going to have a chance for his team to get back into this fight. Like Luke says no, and Slick just managing to get back there. Prime Ranger's popped. If he can bash them onto that train tracks, could be something huge. The EMP from Mito gets rid of the shields, but the numbers are too much. Mango Juice might not be able to take this one away from them. Like Luke comes with it on EMP, and that's going to finish it off with a coalescence from 2.
Very close round there at the end of it, but you know, just Luke, you can see the experience coming in from these players, knowing that they have the advance in their fight and not overextending, not getting overly aggressive to make sure they win it out, just playing it nice and patient, getting the picks, getting the, you know, the trickling away at the damage to try and shift the fights into their favor.
Looks like I have time to do.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of a mistiming from Mango Juice, I would say. I mean, Slick went in, overextended himself, got taken out way early in the fight, and really put his team at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, coming into this round here, you can see Slick and Bandit kind of abandoning the dive principle here. They're going for a very similar comp to Alweer Geboelie's, but with the Reinhardt to allow them a little bit more brawl instead of just purely the control-based play that the Sigma would offer them instead.
I mean, in that match, the previous match, we saw the Reinhardt doing actually quite well for Toxic Croc, so maybe Mango Juice trying to channel a similar energy with him.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously you're going to be, it's a very small objective and they're going to be taking a very tight approach, so they're maybe hoping the hammer will have the desired effect.
That's not what you want, though. You do not want that Reinhardt split into that wall. He does get a little bit of support, but the damage came out. Mito now with the Reaper. Mango Juice making waves is just losing that 2 frontline tanks. Not exactly the best position to be in if you are Alweer Geboelie.
Looking here now, it's just going to be a case of cleaning up for the side of Mango Juice now. They've done the good work there. They've rolled out the front line, and they've made sure that Bandit didn't drop, even though he got walled.
Lucky Luke's just gonna try to farm this ultimate up, get to that EMP as fast as possible. Very, like you said, broadly comp for Mango Juice. And Alweer Geboelie don't look to be wanting to adapt or change to try and take them on.
Yeah, I think that's particularly it's particularly good to see, you know, them playing very nicely disciplined to break through that wall and make sure Bandit can get the support. Because once he could just put his hammer up, and they can't actually take that advance that they want to on him.
Yeah, it was a good move, and then once again the wall comes out. Nice little wall from Shadowscript, but there's the EMP from Like a Luke. No shields left, no abilities for the time being. Mango Juice looking to be in trouble. Mito gets frozen, and Tugo just using that right click, trying to get as much damage as possible. Finding the picks is what Alweer Geboelie needs right now, but unfortunately they're not coming out, and there's the Earth Shatter from Bandit, but finds himself caught in a nice counter blizzard from Condi, who's just gonna go and shoot some icicles at heads. Unfortunately, no value to come from all the ultimates used by Alweer Geboelie, and they find themselves back at spawn.
Yeah, as much as that did catch a lot of the teammates there, but it's just a case of too little too late. With only 2 members left on the side of Alweer Geboelie, they weren't ever going to be really able to capitalize on that 5-man blizzard.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate. They just kind of counter-ulting rather than initiating the fight. It was all in Mango Juice's favor.
They've now switched onto a Reaper and a Doomfist here, so they're probably looking to kind of bully out this Ryan a little bit quicker and punish them for not running a disruption as Sigma.
Well, it's going to be a little bit hard with the blizzard. That Doomfist not going to be able to get in it. Zenora gets frozen. That's not what you want from your supporters. Maestro goes down as well. And now 3 members remaining for Alweer Geboelie. Can Like a Luke make something happen with this Doomfist? Not going to happen as Pale Native and him fall. And now it's just Condi, and he's just trying to keep this alive. He wants to be on there for that overtime. Not going to happen. And now it's going to be a frantic race just to touch the point.
And maybe you wanted Connie to just back off a little bit and touch the last second to trigger the overtime, but you know, you have to say from the side of Mango Juice there, really good play from them to, you know, just get that momentum back. It was a little bit of a disheartening one to lose that one in the last fight in the last round. So come out here, give us a good 99-0, and now, you know, you're gonna give the side of Alweer Geboelie a little bit of pause. You know, what are they gonna do to counter the aggression of this comp?
Yeah, I think that caught Alweer Geboelie a bit off guard, how aggressive Mango Juice were ready to, and just they didn't adapt quick enough. So now Alweer Geboelie, they might be expecting the same thing. What do you expect to see from them?
Well, you can see they're clearly adapting to run the mirror tanks back at them here, and with Luke and Condi on 2 very comfortable picks for them, you know, you'd expect maybe the swings in their favor, but you know, the tank play from Bandits in the previous round was very good. So it's gonna come down to that Maestro and Pale Native, whether they can take the initiative from them.
I think it also might come down to what Luke can do with that Doomfist as Condi gets into the backline, tries to get some damage out of it. The environmental field is too strong, but Like a Luke finally pops up, gets through a Shadow Script, and Pale Native finds Mito. Numbers in their favor. Alweer Geboelie going to be able to get onto this point relatively unchallenged, locking Mango Juice back into that corridors. They back off, and now there are not enough supports for Mango Juice to really sustain through this fight, and Zenora's been left to go capture the point.
I think maybe you're looking at a good fight there for Alweer Geboelie, but you know, they've left the point a little bit late, and they might suffer a little bit from Mango Juice coming back at them very aggressively.
I mean, that's the aggression that you want to see from Mango Juice. Is coalescing straight up from Sylvania, and there's double Earth Shatters into the shields. No real value from it. Like Luke tries to get a Meteor Strike, throwing out all the ultimates. Alweer Geboelie once again showing that they have not a lot of restraint when it comes to ult management, but they're still managing to win out this fight.
Yeah, it's just, you know, you're looking here at a fight where the front line of Mango Juice actually won the fight, their element of the fight there, but on their backline, Luke and Condi just ran rampant. Both of them just getting pick after pick, and that was actually what swung the fight into Alweer Geboelie's favor.
Yeah, that's always the thing is now Mango Juice need to be countering that Doomfist, especially with how volatile Luke is with it.
Yeah, and now Pale's doing a very good job of just getting nice and aggressive, making sure the Bandit can't.
Ooh,
Big
that fire strike.
Yeah. They're making a lot of good space for Luke and Connie to interact nicely. But you would say maybe you're looking at Mito, looking at Miss Jones, like with the immortality field, to just try and maybe use their resources a bit more safely to make it a bit harder for Luke to interact.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you just got to be able to shut down that space that Luke's getting so much value from. Ice Wall out though, does manage to keep them in their place. There is the Death Blossom from Condi. Oh, just so much happening in this fight right now, and it looks like Mangojuice managing just to bring it out inch by inch, finding the key picks. Tugo still managed to get rid of Slicks, and just the sports left for Alweer, Geboelie, Tugo, and Zenora trying to get this one alive. Zenora going to get frozen, then charged down by Bandit, and that's going to be the flip. Messy flip at that, but the flip nonetheless.
And with 1-5 territory, the ult management of Alweer, Geboelie in this situation isn't really something that matters anymore. They just need to stack them all up and use them all at once and clutch out this game with 7% remaining on their time bank.
Unfortunately, only the Meteor Strike for Leica Luke, so not a lot of stacking to happen yet. And there we go, Leica Luke pops that Meteor Strike, looking to get value out of it. Coming down on top, but Corrupted Freeze and Vulnerability Shield keeps him alive. I'm not too sure about that barrier from the Batiste, but, don't have vision. That's on the ground is finally Alweer, Geboelie get onto this point and just swarm around Slick. Not going to last as long, even with that Fortify. Now it's just Mito who gets punched to oblivion.
Yeah, and this is going to have to be a last chance rush for Slick there, just to get onto the point and try and do that. But Maestro actually body blocking him off. Really, really good player there from Maestro to just make sure they can't even get the overtime, make sure the point doesn't flip back into Mangojuice's favor, and Alweer, Geboelie managed to take the map.
Yeah, a nice last minute push. They didn't actually need the ultimates. Like you're saying, I mean, you didn't bring that up, that Alweer, Geboelie didn't really need the ultimates in that late stages of the game if they could get a solid push, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and it's I was originally quite surprised to see the Doomfist ult coming out. I thought they might take a second fight and just use one to farm ultimates, but taking that initiative, just getting very, very nice and aggressive onto Mangojuice's frontline, doing what Mangojuice did so well against them in the previous round, absolutely took the win. And they were just able to take the initiative, take the points, win the round.
Yeah, and I mean, also on Luke's side, I mean, the only ultimate up was that Meteor Strike. He used it quite nicely to zone them to make Mangojuice just a little bit scared of this attack, bunch them up a little, threw out a blizzard, threw out all their abilities, and then there was nothing left and just got steamrolled.
Yeah, and I think even though it didn't get any picks because of the immortality field, because of the sheer fact that it did so much damage, once the immortality field went down, the tanks in Pale, Native, and Maestro were just able to cleave through that shield and do the substantial damage to win out that round for them.
Now we are going to Dorado, and I mean, obviously a different mindset now, going from control point to escort. How do you come back from this as Mangojuice, when you've clearly been shown that Alweer, Geboelie can get aggressive and will go into your face?
Well, I mean, it's going to be the same thing I've been saying all weekend. The best way for them to counter two individually very strong players in Luke and Condi, both of whom gave them a lot of pause in that round, despite Maestro and Pell also performing really well to take the aggression into the tank line. What you're really looking for here is you're looking for a comp that's nice and simple, something that thrives off playing as a nice bunched up group and will move together and win fights like that. And on payload maps, that unfortunately it always goes back to Bastion comps. It's always going to be a Bastion on the payload, a Mei or something to pull the sight line, and lots of healing, lots of shields.
Yeah, I mean, we do know that Mito does love his Bastion, so you can definitely see them trying to be pirates once or twice.
And heading into Dorado now, with the side of Alweer, Geboelie on the defense, what Mangojuice is going to want to do here, especially if they are running that Bastion comps, they're going to want a nice quick push, something very nice and aggressive, something that gives them a little bit of time. If it goes into a third round, that's could push them into a position that Alweer, Geboelie kind of get the mental game knocked out of them. Where they look at the time bank and they're like, geez, how do we play against this?
I mean, that's always the goal, is like winning that mental game. Part of the battle, right? If you can tilt them, especially, I mean, there are players on both teams who are prone to tilting. So if you can find a way to just shut them down, get them to tilt, then you throw that team dynamic off, and maybe you actually start winning the game just on ruining synergy.
Yeah, and I think that will be largely what they're looking for here, is just punishing the any lack of synergy. And we saw a little bit of a lack of synergy in the first game with how undisciplined their ult usage was, how ult after ult would come out and there wouldn't seem to be a plan for the fights. So maybe a nice structured comp, a nice structured playstyle might be what you need to defeat the likes of Alweer Geboelie.
Well, we do have the call that you made of the Bastion on Mango Juice's side. Let's run me through the defense and how this defense is going to be able to work against that Bastion pirate ship double shield comp that Mango Juice has got going on.
Well, I think the thing that they're going to want to do here is they're going to want to just isolate sidelines. Condi's going to want to be wide angled to where his Orisa is. Luke is going to want to get in behind them and try and pick off a support or pick off the other DPS. And they're going to want to just make more sightlines than can be shielded.
Mito does pop up though, reveals like a Luke and Condi hiding on that rooftop. That gives his team a nice little bit of free push.
Yeah, Condi getting pushed early in that fight, and although there's a trade pick coming back, you would say that gives Mango Juice the advantage going further into this fight.
I mean, Mango Juice definitely had the advantage getting that pick, forced a very hasty engagement into the back of Mango Juice from like a Luke, and now advantage in Mango Juice's favor. Just Pale Native trying to stay alive, gets rocked to the face and pushed back slowly. Nice little teamwork. Comedy switching onto the Widow though, gets slick in the process.
And I think from the side of Alweer Geboelie here, the switch for Condi is just to devote something to take down that Pharah. Condi obviously a very, very strong hit scan player, and that's what you're going to want, is just get that Pharah out of the sky. And then Luke switching onto a signature May here, walling up the Bastion on the payload has been something that's been so effective throughout the weekend. And also just punishing, giving his team some space to advance and punishing the sightlines that the Bastion might want to take.
Just get a nice little freeze on the Sigma of Slick, and that allows the team an opening to push forward. The wall being used nicely, gets Bandit and Slick caught, isolated on their own. Slick goes down. Shadowscript does manage to get Maestro in the process. It's just not enough to keep this fight going, as Bandit once again walled out and alone. Condi challenging the space of Miss Jones, and they're just going to have to back and spawn and figure out how to get rid of the threat that Condi is posing.
And that's some very, very good experience from the side of Luke and Condi there, knowing, to counter this Bastion, we need a May. To counter this Pharah, we need a Widowmaker. Let's make this happen and win the fights, and then we can get back to holding this payload. And what is a very difficult choke to breach at this bridge over here, with so much nice cover for them to sit behind and take angles at. You'd say that they're in a ideal situation right now.
I mean, Mito switching onto the May. Looks like he's going to be the one to challenge Condi as Shadowscript goes down. And Alweer Geboelie still looking strong, and like I said, in this choke that's so hard to get through.
Yeah, and Condi just controlling that sideline with the supercharger coming out. Absolutely insane. Just such good Widowmaker play from Condi there, using all the space in the world that he has behind that choke to just pick out a head and click it.
I mean, they're running the May Reaper, that sort of like close range brawl comp, but if they can't get close, why are you running the May Reaper?
Yeah, and I think, that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to maybe try and take a different rotation, go in the inside and up and around, or, not take this choke, because at the moment what's happening is that they're just going to be sitting and waiting for Condi to take the shots at them.
Well, Graviton Flux is quite affected, followed up by Blizzard. Bandit stuck behind that wall, and just the two supports of Mito trying to keep this fight alive. Condi just pops up, shoots the heads, or tries to, challenging that space, making them back off.
Yeah, and you see the same thing happens again. They go through that choke that is so difficult to break. They don't have a high ground advantage. They don't have a space advantage. They just have the situation where they're getting rushed out of rushed out in that choke by the May, by the Widowmaker looking for the picks, and the Flux and the May ult used very nicely together to just secure that fight. Nice little bit of ultimate discipline as well from the side of Alweer Geboelie, just maintaining their advantage, maintaining their position without overextending their resources.
Final fight territory now, Blur, as Mango Juice go in. Nice wall once again as the Graviton Flux comes up with Mango Juice. Slick pops it up, no damage there. Fortifier Maestro keeps them alive, makes sure that there's still a shield for Alweer Geboelie. And now, battle of the shields and the walls as Mango Juice managing to find some advantage in this fight. Maestro surrounded, left alone. This is going to allow Mango Juice to get onto that point and push it forward, get the overtime counter running. How do Alweer Geboelie counter this? They're going to need to get some mobility going here.
I'm not sure if they will go for the recontest here. They might, but I would be surprised if they do, considering that it is an overtime push and it's just like it's going to charge the ults of Mango Juice to re-engage here. But it actually looks like they're coming back in, maybe looking to use that supercharge on Coalescence to swing the fight in their favor. Mito actually using that nail to kind of just swing it back the way of Mango Juice.
Yeah, a beautiful Blizzard by Mito just stops the counter attack in its steps, although it just fell on Shadow Script, ready to clean up the mess that Mito left behind. As Zenora now just trying to be as annoying as possible on that Lucio, supporting Condi, keeping him alive. Does manage to get rid of Shadow Script with a nice little kick to the face, but eventually gets found by Slick.
It's a little bit surprising for me to see this. See them actually commit to that fight, because you know you're coming to the next fight. You have Mito with the Blizzard, you know, possibly, but they had to use 2 ults to actually get any value onto that point, any purchase onto that point, and they still lost the fight. So, you know, maybe that's not quite what they really should have been doing there. But you can see why they wanted to do it. If they ended the fight there, it's a very nice win condition for them. But heading into this next fight, they're actually at a pretty big disadvantage.
I mean, a disadvantage for Mango Juice with a beautiful Dragon Strike coming in. Shadow Script responds with a Death Blossom, gets punished for it. And Mito now just trying to stay alive with a wall. Not gonna happen. Pale Native says no.
We've just seen so many people in this tournament just end up standing straight in the dragons while they tick their health away, and it's a really nice use from Condi there to play as tight an angle for them as possible to try and get out of it. But you know, nearly a good trade from Shadow Script there, but it ends up being a case of too little too late, as the fight's already in the other team's favor.
I mean, yeah, and he was focused down almost immediately, and now only one ultimate speak of Likely will have that Blizzard up as this next fight takes place. Likely has Blizzard but gets punished and no longer has that available, but the walls might be too strong here. Alweer Geboelie looking good, just using those walls nicely. Maestro getting up onto that payload, using a little bit of a high point advantage to try shoot behind Bandit. They really start focusing down Mango Juice if they are going to be able to push this payload forward, and only Bandit left. Sylvania trying to keep him alive with the Moira. It's just chaos. If you're Mango Juice right now, this is not a good place to be in. And now being pushed back, 6 ultimates for Alweer Geboelie, and it could be a devastating ulti usage if they get it right. Graviton Flux comes out. No one really caught inside that one, and that's one ultimate down. Alweer Geboelie still have out advantage though. There's the Blizzard and Nora with a sound barrier. And a counter Blizzard from Mito. Ultimates being thrown left and right. Still no one really gaining much foot in this fight. Coalescence from Tugo keeps Pale Native alive. But Mango Juice is finally on this payload and pushing it forward. Dragons go through, managing to get 2. Oh, but Mango Juice keep on moving forwards.
And you have to give a lot of credit to the ultimate usage of Mango Juice there. They had a lot less resources to work with, but still managed to win out that fight. Condi though, a really constant thorn in the side of Mango Juice, you know, with that Hanzo getting pick after pick after pick in every single fight, and even his ultimates, you know, the Dragon Strike tends to be something you want to combine with other ultimates, but here it just like always looks like he's just able to just magnetize it to an enemy health bar.
Yeah, but it's also awareness. Mango Juice not really moving out of the way of that Dragon Strike.
Yeah, you see here the stall coming out. Do they win it? Is it going to be the same fight as point 1? Maybe.
They might just win, especially if Shadow Script throwing away that Death Blossom, not getting any value for it. Now they're just being surrounded, being iced, being everything going wrong for Mango Juice right now. There's the Blizzard. Bandit going to get caught. He does have that Fortify active, but it goes away before it can really be of much value to him. War behind him, he can't back off. Only the Coalescence of Sylvania keeping alive, but it counters Coalescence from Tugo. Now goes into the fight. 3 on the payload. Miss Jones pops the sound barrier, giving her team that little extra boost of health, but it might not be enough as Graviton Flux gets thrown on top of them, thrown off the payload. Overtime not gonna cut it, and not making it to second point. Mango Juice need to defend hard.
And that's, you know, really good play there from Luke, especially there, getting to the point to just stall it out and build that last little bit of his Blizzard there, and that was their win condition. You know, although the fight still went on after that, it's Mango Juice clutching at straws when it's a 4v6, and eventually, you know, it was a bit of attrition, and then they lost when Pale built up his Gravitic Flux.
Yeah, it was a really well timed Gravitic Flux. Just coming at the perfect moment to throw them off that payload. They may have had a little bit more sustain, especially with the sound barrier coming out. But, you know, Pale Native had enough of it. So now it's their turn to defense for Mango Juice, at least. And what do you think they need to do here?
Well, I think from Mango Juice, you're going to want to try and get that choke. If you get that choke on the bridge there, you can waste so much time, the same way that Alweer Geboelie wasted so much time for them. And if they control it properly, that'll put them in a position where they're able to kind of maybe even think of a 0.1 hold. Because if the obviously the win condition on streets is a much harder one to hold when you're looking at, you know, a sniper with the caliber of Condi coming out against them onto that open streets phase.
I mean, that depends if Condi even plays a sniper. We do have the defense set, obviously. I don't know. I'm not going to call Alweer Geboelie because that just looks like a traditional dive. I don't know if that's what they actually want to be playing.
A traditional dive with the Baptiste, quite surprisingly.
A new traditional dive.
But yeah, I think, you know, it'll be nice. This will probably be a little bit of a bunker bust from the side of Alweer Geboelie. They're trying to just build up their ults and win the fight there. And that might be with an expectation that it might be difficult for them to break the choke.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have been spotted out. There's the Hanzo with the Sonic Arrow, and the dive comes up as they get behind. Pale Native just peeling off with the Winston, trying to give some support. Not really pushing them off that high ground as Tugel moves forward, trying to keep a team alive. Not going to happen, though. Revive does come out from Zenora, and now in behind the lines of Mango Juice. This is dangerous. Mango Juice need to be aware of what's happening with those two frontline tanks of Alweer Geboelie as they go back, once again diving. No one on the payload. A little bit of deflect there from the Genji, and not really getting value out of this dive comp.
Yeah, just the thing is though, with this, they will be looking to just build up their ultimates. You know, just stack up their ultimates and eventually win off just an overwhelming strength push.
Yeah, well, losing your Mercy isn't exactly what you want to do. Primal Rage is out from Maestro, and he's actually just going to bash them away from this high ground. Allow them to push that payload through the choke is obviously the goal of what Maestro did there, and that does exactly that. Payload is through. Nice little sleep onto Mito from Tugel. This gives the team a little bit more breathing room, and they have an opportunity to reform and really push this payload in the next attack.
I'm not quite sure about the Primal Rage there from Maestro. You know, you're looking at them actually getting a little bit of extra push on it, but fundamentally the payload still ends in the same place they don't want it to be. It's still stuck, you know, right by that bridge, right where Mango Juice will really want to be holding this point, and that's a very hard choke for them to break.
They do have the mobility of this dive if they want to jump over and get up to where Condi is, you know, and just complete, like you said in the first time, negate that choke completely.
Unfortunately, though, that would mean diving into the Reaper of Mango Juice, which is going to be something that's highly difficult thing to actually counter.
Well, there we go. The dive into the Reaper happens anyway, assisted by a nice Dragon Blade and a little bit of an explosion from the Tracer, as Mito finally falls as the last man standing for Alweer Geboelie. Mango Juice.
And that's really nice work from Condi and Luke there. Although they use two DPS ults together, they use them to absolute full effect. You know, the Tracer Bomb getting a good pick off there, and then the damage boosted nano or the damage boosted blade able to come through there and just, you know, clean up, sweep up, and give them the push onto point 2 here.
Yeah, and already Tugel has that nano boost up once again, so she's actually playing fantastically on this. And a 2 support ultimates for Alweer Geboelie.
Oh, and that's just coming straight back onto the Genji again.
Hey man, don't mess with the winning formula. It doesn't help if the Genji doesn't have a Dragon Blade ready.
Yeah, I was almost expecting to go onto the Winston there, because the Genji without the blade is not quite going to get the same effect.
Gave him a little bit of confidence to just dive into the back line. I mean, not much happened as a result, and now they just got their tails between their legs running back to spawn.
And coming into this next fight, a Flux and a Death Blossom for the side of Mango Juice, and you're maybe thinking that will be enough for them to clutch out the next fight at the very least. Let Mito build up that Dragon Strike. Let's Slicken or let Bandit and Miss Jones start to build up, you know, those ult banks again, and you'll probably get your Moira ult by the end of this fight as well.
Oh, Gravidon Flux just to be aggressive onto the attack. Make sure at least Pale Native can't get into the fight. Self-destruct does come out, gets behind the shield, might get one. Slick goes down, but a Dragon Strike in retaliation from Mito goes through, just zoning out that channel, but the Dragon Blade into the back line and a little bit too strong. While Mito was distracted, and now back on the payload. Alweer Geboelie just gonna push this one forwards. Only Shadow Script left, and might not survive too long with Condi waiting at the end of it.
Oh, it's so surprising to not see that Reaper ult come out there right after the Griffith Flux where Pale Native sent his bomb. A Reaper ult could have absolutely cleaned out Alweer Geboelie's backline, but he was there, he didn't use it, and his team suffers as a result.
Yeah, now he's gonna have a lot harder trying to get that Death Blossom off in the next fight.
Ooh, nice pulse bomb there to just give them an advantage coming into what will be the last fight if they would manage to win it.
Not if Sylvania has anything to say about it. Coalescence can't keep Bandit alive. And there we go. Death Blossom into the backline. Does manage to get 3. And this puts Mango Juice back in the fight. Nora with a cheeky revive onto Like a Luke. Let's see if he can have some value with that as he goes in. Still being supported by Zenora. Pale Native manages to get the mech back. And now it's just Like a Luke and Pale Native trying to stay on this payload. But it's staggered. And have to reform, wait for those respawns.
And it's going to have to be a very long stagger from the side of Mango Juice here, because it's still 1 minute and 30 with the Nano Blade coming up. That's going to be a very, very hard little point to hold over here.
Interesting that Condi went in to try stop the stagger from happening.
But yeah, you have the blade coming up here. Miss Jones with the barrier ready, so she's just going to have to play a little bit careful, make sure she doesn't get picked off before the blade comes out, because this is still a very winnable fight for them.
Yeah, and especially you got Bandit unnoticed there on that high ground, just ready to do a power driver behind them. Could be something huge. Nice little rock being thrown at Maestro, just sends them scrambling backwards. They have to wait for their diva to get back into this fight. Oh, now it's a Sigma.
Well, first pick coming out for the side of Mango Juice there. They do get a trade there, and could go either way.
Yeah, Condi getting a lot of value with that pulse bomb does manage to just open up the fight nicely for Alweer Geboelie. Although, once again, being pushed back, Bandit coming from behind, just a little bit too strong. Not much left in this fight, just Maestro Tugal and the mercy of Zenora trying to keep him all alive.
And you can see Mango Juice pushing out a little bit aggressive here, maybe trying to get an extra pick, because that means that the last fight's going to be a little bit short-handed for the side of Alweer Geboelie.
Yeah, it is final fight territory right now, Blue.
Yeah, and looking at the ults online for the side of Mango Juice, you have 2 very good points, or ultimates for closing out a point. You're going to have the Death Blossom coming online and the Minefield, alongside Mito's Dragon Strike to kind of just try and just force them into a position where they're gonna get taken out of the fight.
Looks like Luke's wants to have something to say about that, though. He's trying to get that ultimate charged up quickly on the Pharah. Oh, a little bit of overextension from Maestro, unable to get support, and the ultimates come out from Mango Juice as they go all in onto this payload, and that's going to be the end of that as Alweer Geboelie lose map number 2, taking it to 1-1.
And that's just fantastic usage from Mango Juice there. Bandit showing the absolute value he would be able to get out of Wrecking Ball there. Switching off that Orisa where it might not have been otherwise opportune to just, swing the fight in their favor, disrupt the backline of Alweer Geboelie, make sure that they can't consistently land the antis, land the healing, land the, sleep darts that might otherwise just undermine their ability to defend here.
Yeah, it was actually quite interesting because at the beginning of this, you pointed out how well Alweer Geboelie was doing, and they were working together a lot more, and like their ult usage was better. And near the end, they just started panicking and just had switches off, going all over the place, while Mango Juice seemed to like tighten up a lot more on their defense.
And that's something very, very nice to see from Mango Juice. That, they're not getting intimidated by the fact that they didn't quite get that point 2. They're not getting intimidated by the fact that they have to come in and clutch a big part of point 1 in the overtime. They're playing their strategies. They're playing, that must be a credit to some shot calling on the side of that team with Bandit and Mito, quite notable for the way they communicate in their own teams. And that puts them in a really nice position to just, despite Luke and Condi's prevalence and, absolute like mechanical masterclass that they've been showing, it just gives them the opportunity to actually still come out on top in these games. Hanamura is going to be our next map.
Yeah, going on to Hanamura is when we had this map earlier in the day, and there was a draw. Do you expect to see the same, especially with how tight these teams have been playing right now? Are you expecting them to be that closely contested as in the first semifinal of the day?
I think you're seeing a tendency of Alweer Geboelie to tend towards like bunker bust dive, something with a Genji, something with a Sombra or a Tracer, and Condi and Luke you've seen Luke's blades come out there, and with Miss Jones's sound barrier, they're managing to clutch out right in the crucial moments in that last game. But Luke's blades is something that's going to be very strong for them to lean on as a win condition. And I think, that's maybe what I don't think we'll see a draw, because I think we'll see too much bunker busting from these two sides.
I don't think that the bunker bust is that viable in Hanamura. I mean, once the other team's especially if your defense is locked down quite nicely, there's not a lot of space. Maybe in the second point, if you want to use the dive or the bunker bust in first point to try snowball into second point. But I just don't see it being that viable, especially with a Luke who's going to be playing the Mei and he's going to be using those walls to such clinical precision.
But I think that's why they'll be looking for something like a Sombra, something with an EMP that can actually just undermine their ability to shape the fight with something like a Mei wall or a strong ultimate.
I mean, we might see Mito go back onto the Sombra, so that could be a possibility that they bring out. But I mean, Luke's also shown that he can counter Sombra with a Sombra. It's really these two teams are just so evenly matched. They basically just matching each other every step of the way.
Yeah, there's some really nice interactions going on between the strengths of these two teams. You see the strong dive coming out, but you also see the strong Reaper play coming out, the strong Mei play coming out, the strong Sombras and the Genjis, and it's just back and forth. It's a very nice tactical battle to see how these teams will get the better of one another.
Well, we are just waiting on a 2-minute quick break, two quick minute break. I don't know how I've said that wrong.
Quick 2-minute break.
That's the one. Why was I putting quick in the wrong place?
And it's one of those funny things. It's actually grammatically correct. Just it just sounds wrong.
Yeah, I was reading what was in the chat and just threw me off completely.
Yeah, it looks like Shadow Script has made its way back into the game now, so we're just waiting for someone on the side of Alweer Geboelie to be back, and then we will be taking us into Hanamura. 2CP, obviously quite an unpopular game mode, but out of all the maps available, Hanamura probably the most beloved.
I don't know if it's the most beloved. I think it's just the map people feel most confident on, because you don't often see a clean sort of wipe on Hanamura. It's it's very easy to closely contest Hanamura than some of the other 2CPs. For example, Anubis, Temple of Anubis. That's one that could either go either way.
Yeah, I think with Temple of Anubis, you're looking at very tight strategies, especially on that second point. You're looking at something where, if you've got a very entrenched bunker and a team that's particularly strong on that very entrenched bunker, you're almost going to be unable to even take a fight against it. Whereas here, there is that space. You've got the whole left side that you can rotate around that point with the traditional hold on the high ground on defense. For the attacking team, you have lots of options for rotation, which really could give them the possibility of, running a bunch of different strats there.
Yeah, and I think that's also the appeal of it, is that there is so much variety that you can play on this map. You're not locked into just doing one thing.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be we speak about a tactical battle here, and I think especially if it goes to a round 3, we're going to see some interesting comps coming out here. Maybe some Symmetras, maybe some Torbjorns even we've seen work in this tournament so far. So let's see what's
when you bring up the mind games.
Okay, so
sorry, you go.
Yeah, we've got the side of Alweer Geboelie on the defense here. So maybe just getting a clear win condition if they manage to hold a good defense here and just get the time that they have, or the progress that they have on the point that they actually have to reach. But for the side of Mango Juice here, again, you have a very good opportunity to take the wind out of Alweer Geboelie's sails and just say, okay, this is how much time we have. This is how intimidating our push was. Looking at the two teams here, we're seeing the Doomfist come out from Luke again, and that's something I think he's very fond of getting onto that backline and just shutting down fights before they even start. But I don't think there's going to be too much of a backline here from the side of Mango Juice. They're going to be trying to teleport onto the point here and just fight as one condensed unit to just rush through the enemy team.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get a nice teleport onto the back, that could really put a spanner in like a Luke's plan, and if there was a Mei on the defense, there would be an opportunity to like use her a bit more to get back into that teleport, and yeah, it might just be a frantic scramble.
Yeah, I think the one thing, the variable here that we're gonna have to watch out for is Condi. You know, we've got a Reaper here that could really swing the fight if he's left uncontested.
Like a Luke and Bandit dash heads in the middle. There's like Luke trying to get rid of the danger of the Mei. Shadowscript finds Condi, and so there's the danger that you were just talking about no longer there. As Mango Juice moves fully onto this point. Maestro getting surrounded. Tugo trying to keep on life, but she gets thrown off the edge and followed shortly by the Orisa.
I'm actually not sure if it was intentional or not, but they end up not using the teleporter, and what that does to Alweer Geboelie is it just pulls their focus entirely towards it. So, you know, they're able to just actually rush through the front line there and get a lot of value from what was just a really good bait.
Hello there.
Yeah, it was. I saw, like, even where they put the teleporter isn't a location that you usually put it using in on the attack opponent mirror. So, nice little play there by Mango Juice.
Big rotation coming onto the point here, and we'll see how this fight develops from here.
They do have an opportunity for that out snowball, but Zabani get taken up mid coalescence. Not where you want to be. Condi on this Doomfist going wild, trying to get the kill. Spellnator gets revived back in the fight. Goes for the fire strike into the shield. Dive gets nice little charge down onto Miss Jones, and it's all coming out. Pale Native, the big man with the big hammer, says this fight is mine.
And that's just fantastic play there from Luke and Condi there, splitting up the fight entirely on that second point, so that even though they were at a 3-4 disadvantage, it ended up being that the side of Mango Juice weren't actually able to do very much to them. You know, they weren't able to, you know, push effectively into that fight and make sure that they mopped it up and get even a tick.
Yeah, no swaps though for Mango Juice, and there's the wall. That might just be a throwaway out to get a swap going.
Very strange teleporter there, but short. But they do get onto the point now.
Yeah, using it nicely as the barrage goes straight into the shield. And no value. Nice little blizzard from Mito. Just closes out this fight. Condi goes for Flick, but gets punished and thrown backwards. Meteor Strike finds no one. And now it's just Condi and Luke, the two DPS, trying to work in tandem to keep this point alive, to keep the dream of the defense alive for Alweer Geboelie. They do have that Earth Shatter, and there we go, the bongo drums down, Earth Shatter goes out, gets two, nice little charge down, but a counter Earth Shatter from Bandit, shuts him down mid-charge. Condi still coming in with that Doofus, trying to get something out with that uppercut, but still not getting the value he needs with the disruption that needs to be brought from Condi. Bandit says no, just fire strikes Condi out of the fight. Still no tick on the board though. This is a frantic defense from Alweer Geboelie. Maestro is in there like a Luke, finally managing to shut down Bandit in his tracks.
And I mean, we have the same situation coming out there again. Is that, you know, with Luke and Condi just being able to sustain that fight, even though they're not able to win it on their own, they're able to stay on that point for so long, and then Pale's able to come back, Maestro's able to come back with that supercharger, Zenora and Tugal able to come back with the healing and the coalescence, and it's just, you know, a really, really strong defense from them, and good, smart play from the players that you would expect to be making those decisions.
Yeah, it was fantastic interplay between the two DPS players.
And with both of them having their ults online here, you'd be very surprised to see Mango Juice push a strong fight here, but, you know, we have seen stranger things happen.
Oh, but Mito goes down, and there we go, Barrage goes straight into that tight corridor, dude, leaving Shadowscript, the last survivor. Survivor's guilt might take place, and there we go, it's taken out.
Very, very nice ult usage there from Like Luke. And that's only one ult used in that fight for very little trade, so, you know, I think that's something they'll consider good in the economy here. Just keeping their advantage, keeping their kind of bank intact, and with no ults quite on the board yet for Mango Juice, with the shatter just about there, you'd say it's actually, you know, smart conservative usage.
Yeah, very well played by Luke. And Condi now with the Meteor Strike in that tight space might manage to get some value out of it, but the Corruptic Freeze says no, and the shields are up. Although, pouncing onto that Meteor Strike is Alweer Geboelie, just straight into that tight channel, going for the lockdown. Shadowscript says, not today, I have my Deadeye ready, and I'm ready to take this high ground. Tugo gets taken out, trying to revive Condi.
It's a nice,
Still, like, yeah, sorry.
it's a nice fight there from that's taken by Mango Juice, despite being at a massive disadvantage. And they'll come into this next fight with 5 ults. You know, but however, having trades like that was always going to advantage the defending team because they have that massive spawn advantage on the second point here.
Hello there.
I mean, even despite the spawn advantage, it's going to be 6 ultimates because 6 is going to have that bongos ready to go.
So I think, you know, it's good of them to build that up. But on the other side, 4 coming back in their direction.
Oh, that's some great holding of the ultimates from Mango Juice. They let Luke throw away his... They let
Right beside you.
Alweer Geboelie just overcommit a little bit.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's a good hold, but I think, you know, at the end of the day, you're looking at an ultimate being used, but they still have a big time bank, or they still have, you know, that time bank trickling down, rather. You know, and although an ultimate is used and that swings the bank in their favor, you know, maybe you wanted to get a little bit more value in that fight, maybe get them to commit the supercharger or the shatter as well.
Well, now that they are coming in, they do have the ultimates. Coalescence goes out first. Earth Shatter from Pale Native, not finding value. Blizzard goes out onto Maestro, and that's going to result in his death as well. The Deadeye from Shadowscript does manage to get rid of Condi, who can be such a danger. And now it's just Zenora using that fade to stay alive. Luke from the top, trying to support her. But Shadowscript just going to take care of him with that hit scan quite nicely. As Tugo tries to go for a sneaky revive, gets taken out. Earth Shatter finds no one, but it doesn't matter because he gets the charge down onto Pale Native. And this is a good attack from Mango Juice as they have the numbers and they have all of the time in the world. They have used all their ultimates, but there's no ultimates on either team. So it's a very even fight. There's the charge down, goes straight into the Corruptic Freeze of like a Luke, but just enough to stall them off from point and managing to get the second point.
Yeah, it's a very nice hold there from the side of Alweer Geboelie, but it's really good to see from Mango Juice to just get there in the last moments to just make sure they get the second point, get it with a bit of a time bank so that they do have the possibility of going into that third round. So, you know, that is good from what you want to see from this team.
Yeah, it was a nice use of ultimates, nice use of holding those ultimates, and even like Bandit didn't throw away his Earth Shatter in the first initiated. She waited for a re-engage. So Mango Juice really working well together there for that final push.
Yeah, from their sustained ultimates, you got a lot of really nice, you know, prolonged usage, which made it possible for them to win that fight. And then from those ultimates that you want to be those flash in the pans, the Earth Shatters, for example, you know, they just held them until they really, really needed them. And, you know, it's good to not just see them come in and press Q indiscriminately, because that would have been something that really would have derailed their fight, even with that ult advantage.
Yeah,
coming out onto...
Sorry, I just want to say some good focusing of targets. I mean, getting rid of Condi early on and also Luke. Just those two dangers.
Of course. And, you know, coming out on the defense here, you know, you're going to see a similar teleport strat coming out from the side of Alweer Geboelie. But, you know, Mango Juice are wise to it. They've got that Reinhardt ready to brawl through with the Orisa next to him. They've got that Mei and that Reaper ready to just close down that fight. And, you know, unless the immortality field of Zenora can get some really good value out early in this fight, you'd say that Mango Juice are really well poised to take this fight in the early stages.
What is the value of putting a Reinhardt there as opposed to a Diva or a Roadhog?
Well, less so than the Diva or the Roadhog, more with this than as compared to the Sigma. You're acknowledging that the fight is going to be taken very close range, and the stun of the Sigma and the you know, grasp and all the things that would have been able to cut off sight lines and shut down angles aren't really as necessary as having a big arcing damage source that can go through shields.
Well, let's see how he uses that big arcing damage hammer of his as he goes into this fight, going straight for Pale Native. Nice little scrap happening here for Mango Juice as they're using their abilities around, rotating in nicely through this fight, just keeping those shields up, locking out Alweer Geboelie. The invulnerable field is up, but Zenora low on health, going to get taken out very shortly, and that's going to probably be it for her team as Tugo goes with the last just Coalescence, trying to keep it alive. A little bit of symmetric turrets there, just carrying Mango Juice on the point, but it's all but over, and Maestro making his way here only to die.
A little bit of a worrying sign for Mango Juice as they let like Luke build that beam up to a very, very high charge and just completely shred their shields. That's something they're gonna have to watch out for coming into later fights, as he already has his ultimates, and you know, you wouldn't be surprised to see him use it, and if he's allowed to stay alive as long as he was in the previous fight, build it up again.
Greetings.
Oh, he does have that massive wall shield of the Symmetra ready to go. We need the ultimate up for Alweer Geboelie as they approach this next fight.
Yeah, and on the other side, you're hopefully looking for a...
Ooh. Solo ultimate from Bandit, gets rid of Condi. Shadowscript pounces into the back onto that teleporter. doing well. The shield is up from the Symmetra, but it's not going to be enough to rescue this team fight from the clutches of Mango Juice.
Yeah, and I think in that fight, they just played a fight that actually took Luke completely out of the equation. You know, really, really good awareness there from Shadow Script to completely zone out Zenora early in that fight. You know, and now it's back to the drawing board for Alweer.
I will not waste this opportunity.
It does look like they have changed up their strategy, putting Luke into the sky now, knowing there's no hit scan to deal with him.
Yeah, no Baptiste or Anna, as we've seen in previous games, that can just add a little bit of pressure in that fight. There's going to be two very high damage sources there. Condi coming in with the Death Blossom.
Condi only getting rid of that supercharger with the Death Blossom, but the invulnerability field does manage to come into place. Just zone them out. Shadowscript responding with his own Death Blossom does actually get the value that Mango Juice needed. And now it's just Luke supported by Tugal, but gets taken out by Mito. And Tugal, where are you flying around to?
And Tugal's going to want to escape this fight very, very quickly. Try and make sure that she doesn't die here. Because if she doesn't, they're able to take a nice quick fight before the loss of the Reaper on the other side is able to really affect or able to get back into the fight for Mango Juice.
Well, let's see what they can do. They've got 30 seconds to go as they move on. Shield is placed from Maestro. Condi goes in with that Doomfist, and the Amplification Matrix is up. But Mango Juice playing it really well. He's hugging tight onto that corner, making sure the Amplification Matrix has no value. And now they're fighting back and rocking and rolling. Liger comes up with a barrage, but late into the fight only has Tugal and Condi with him to support. Although Condi's going straight for the May of Mito, says no more, and that's probably going to be the capture. Getting that first point.
No teammates, no problem if you're like a Luke. Just taking out 3 people in that fight to actually swing the fight completely into their favor and then eventually win it out. So get them on the point capture and take them into a second point, which you'd argue that their comp is a little bit more favored on.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much like focusing down the dangers, and we spoke about this in Busan when they did focus down Condi and Luke, and now giving him a little bit too much space. You see what he can do. So Shadow Script switching on to the hit scan to challenge him, get him out of that air.
And I think just losing their Orisa in that fight made it a little bit more difficult for them to actually manage Luke there. Even though the fight was, in their favor, they just couldn't take him out of the air. And Luke, he knows his bounce. He knows exactly how hard he can commit or how quickly he has to go back. And a really nice rotation coming out from that Symmetra.
Yeah, beautiful teleport onto that point, but the Blizzard is right there, ready to go. And vulnerability field not going to be able to save them this time round. Like a Luke needs to be challenged, and Bandit says no, swing a hammer in his face. You've got to go. Pale Native does get revived, however. Tugal doing well with the Mercy, but no Shadow gets rid of Pale Native. Maestro still alive though, and no support from his team as they fall in the background. Oh, Alweer, Geboelie doing really well to get to this point. Nice and hard, nice and early. Shadow goes out, catches Sylvania, gets charged down, and now it's just Slick and Miss Jones trying to keep this alive. Shadow Script, who had switched off the hit scan, is just not having the best of times right now. Does get rid of Maestro, however, and might just have flipped this over for Mango Juice's team. The front line is there. Alweer Geboelie is being pushed back slowly. Zenora just backing off. Not going to be able to outlast, but just surrounded by so much of Mango Juice's team. Condi goes in with that power driving punch, trying to get ready, trying to get some value, trying to keep this alive, and it just leaves Like a Luke running backwards alone.
Yeah, unfortunately, with the second point, they don't really have the potential for Luke and Condi to do that same kind of stalling tactic where they were so efficient with on their defense, where they were able to just control the fight and wait for their team to come back. There's just such a massive spawn discrepancy over here, where the defending team is just going to always have that advantage, and they probably should have just disengaged a little bit quicker and made sure that there was no stagger coming through.
Yeah, well, I mean, they do have a moment now just to breathe and reconfigure themselves. Mito's just going to mirror Condi's Doomfist, so it's going to be the battle of the punches as Slick goes flying in with that grappling hook on the Wrecking Ball. Nice little teleport though, unawares to Mango Juice, and that allows Alweer Geboelie to get onto this point quite nicely. But the Dead Eye from Shadow Script could be at value. Does get rid of Maestro. Zenora now no shield to keep her alive and defend her as just Slick goes rolling through with that Wrecking Ball. Pale Native goes down. Your front line's not there. Alweer Geboelie not in a great situation. Condi just trying to keep this alive, but he needs to back off before he gets staggered away, and he's just sitting there under the bridge. And finally Mito sees him, just forces him back.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be one that he's going to be able to chase, but really nicely played there from the side of Mango Juice. just to actually, use their resources really nicely. Bandit actually taking a very nice angle to destroy the supercharger there from Maestro, and Slick just stalling out really nicely, making sure he builds up that minefield. Shadow Script at the end of it actually getting a little bit of a clutch out there, getting his Deadeye that just while he's only got one pick, it zoned them completely off the point.
Ooh. I mean, the minefield was a little bit of misplaced there by Slick. Just has to deal with the front line of Alweer Geboelie right now. Although, finally Condi gets in there. Oh, Bayonated with a nice Earth Shadow. Manages to catch Slick in that. But Slick gets a little bit of escape. Using that grappling hook and the maneuverability of the Breaking Ball quite nicely. It's just 3 of Alweer Geboelie trying to keep this point alive. The coalescence from Zinvania is huge. And he goes for the spinny spins. They clutch it out. Victory.
I think it's just a situation where he knows they've won this round now. That he knows that they're going into their match point. And that's something that's really, really nice. That's a really nice bit of security to have going into a hybrid map, a drawable map, but something that you're going to see very similarly to an escort map, likely to end on a payload, where it's all about adapting, all about getting onto that the next engagement properly. But
yeah, Mangojuice have shown that they're confident on that payload defense, so this could be very much weighted in their favor right now.
Yeah, and you have to say it's maybe looking a little bit like the side of Alweer Geboelie is leaning a little bit too hard on Condi and Luke to produce something out of nothing there. Luke and Condi able to stall out so many fights, able to win that point 1 almost on their own, but they're not going to be able to do everything. Eventually they're going to have to play as a team, and I'm not sure whether that's coming from them or coming from the rest of their team, but it's just there's a bit of a detachment there. It seems like there's a bit of a gap between what the different elements of the team are doing, and that's working against them with Mangojuice playing a very, very smart, very coordinated engagement on the point, which is pretty surprising given these teams were established on Wednesday.
And not only that, not like the reliance on Condi and like Luke, there's also seems to be a stubbornness to change tactics. I mean, they went in with the same teleport at the same location 3 times, 3 different attacks. And the first time it caught Mangojuice of God. The second time I think it caught Mangojuice of God because they didn't think they'll do it again. And that third and final time, Mangojuice was like, all right, we're ready. We know what you're going to do.
Yeah, and it's just not a good situation for them to find themselves in with, the side of Mangojuice willing to, or they already showed that they know how to shut it down. They know where they're going. They know how they're taking that fight. And, they needed to do something a little bit different. Maybe come out the other side, come out on the coast side and take a little bit of a more delayed engagement because they were being dived into. But coming into the space where Shadow Script is able to stay on the high ground and just, pump damage down on them, being in a situation where the tanks of the dive tanks that Mangojuice were running were able to just dive down and control the space from there. It's not a great position to be in.
Yeah, I mean, they could have also just decided to take the close range brawl. I mean, you had McCree, and like I said, the 2 dive tanks, not exactly the biggest brawl comp, and that might have been a way to just counter what Mangojuice was throwing out.
And I think maybe they would have wanted to throw them with that high ground. But coming into King's Row now, it is a very brawl famous map. You know that it's the classic Ryan Zarya map, but not a Zarya in sight. As the only side running a Reinhardt will be Mangojuice again, running that Reinhardt alongside that Orisa. Something that's worked so well for them today. They are such an aggressive team, and it's nice to see that they're playing strats that while they're meta aware, there are also things that just work so nicely with these players' hero pools. On the side of Alweer Geboelie here, a little bit more control-based. They're looking for Condi to pick up an angle. They're looking for Luke to pick up an angle. And they're looking for Pale to close off the ability for Mangojuice to actually get at them. So, it's really good play from them to actually just put themselves in a situation where they are able to, or really good strategizing for them to put themselves in a situation where they are able to maybe control the space and get a little bit of advantage on this brawl intensive comp before it is at the range it wants to be at.
Yeah, I would love to see some play between Luke and that Sigma just to try, keep each other alive, zone out the space a lot more.
Yeah, I think, that's what you're going to have to see here, is that they're going to just have to play a little bit defensively, play a little bit conservatively, maybe not, push the way in the position they want to be, and let's just let their DPS get a little bit of range.
Wow. At this point, it doesn't matter because the nice little fast charge coalescence from Zinvania opens up the point nicely, but Mangojuice not able to really sustain through the damage output of Alweer Geboelie. They might be looking to challenge out Luke in the sky.
And that's exactly what you're going to want to keep happening. You want Maestro to give them a little bit of space, give them a little bit of space. Luke pumping out a lot of damage there, and Connie securing a couple of very important picks there. Both of them sitting on ultimates now, and that's, you know, that's what you're going to want from these players. Coming to this next fight, though, you've got a little bit of a dive comp coming out from...
dive comp with Brawly supports.
Yeah. What it is, I guess. But they have the Hanzo to kind of control the range and the Genji to get in with them. It's a bit of a bunk bust at the end of the day.
I mean, it doesn't help if your primary method of getting to the backline gets busted immediately. Like a Luko gets taken out by Shadowscript with a nice little deflect on that Rocket Barrage. No value there. And now Mango Juice have an opportunity to get into this point and really show some control. The Flux from Pale Native, unfortunately not getting much value. Miss Jones just parrying him as he's trying to keep his dream of being the frontline tank alive. Dragon Strike comes through, and Mango Juice doing a lot better this time to get out of its path and not get taken in by that high damage of the Dragon Strike. The whole of Alweer Geboelie seems to have made their way back to the point. Condi gets punished in his own way. As now, Mango Juice just finaling it out. Bandit just using that power driver to keep them from really having a say in the fight.
Yeah, and I think that's really good play out from Mango Juice there. Despite Slick going down quite early at the beginning of that fight, you know, they know that if they go trade for trade, this is a point that really advantages them with the spawn advantage on their side. But more importantly, you know, while he dived in and died, the 2 DPS on the side of Alweer Geboelie died with him. So they've put themselves in a position where it was just them playing with all the space around the enemy tanks, and they were able, after a prolonged fight, to actually just make that advantage count.
Ooh, looks like Alweer Geboelie going to be challenging those frontline dive tanks now with the Reaper.
Yeah, lots of ults coming their way in this fight though, and already that seems to be paying dividends for the side of Mango Juice. Clutching out a little bit with the Dragon Strike and the Minefield to just give themselves a little bit of free push and not get stuck at this very difficult choke. Because you can't dive into this little choke here.
Ooh, and just a little bit of a boop in the backline, make sure that Like a Luke gets staggered as well.
But yeah, I think they're gonna want to take up this very aggressive position here. They're pushing up almost all the way to the doors here, and you know that's going to be Bandit trying to knock people off the map, but also just trying to engage them at a point where the Reaper's going to be a little bit less effective. With a little bit of space for them to dive onto, this is really nice for them.
Supercharger is out, however, and that might just put a little bit of a spanner in the works of Mango Juice's dive. Shadowscript goes to the Dragon Blade, does get Pale Native, but not much more value. As there we go, Like a Luke now with the Death Blossom, gets 3 straight into that point and just finishes it out, says I'm done with this.
Yeah, and these fights are really, really nice to see. It's nice to see the hit for hit coming through. These teams, you know, coming at each other and getting almost like in the neutral fight. It's very, very balanced. Luke managing to just clutch that out where it looked like his team might be starting to lose out in that fight in the long run.
Yeah, nice little use of the Reaper to counter this dive composition. As now, Mango Juice looking to go around the right-hand side. Oh, but the front lines have been abandoned by support. And there we go, Minefield is out onto the point. That could be used greatly to zone it out, make sure the roll doesn't happen. Maestro is just not too phased as he's just moving through the back line. Like a Luke being spammed down is just going to look at that big body of the Winston and say, you are mine. And this might be the moment that Mango Juice have to rethink their composition.
And I think especially now that they've used the Minefield, Slick's not too close to a Primal Rage, they're going to be reconsidering their options here. And here we see it coming out. The Reaper Orisa, or the Reaper Orisa, I suppose, but also the Reinhardt and the Pharah coming out. Going to give them something a little bit different to play with. A little bit, you know, they're going to be taking up a couple of angles, punishing Mango, or punishing Alweer Geboelie's inability to actually effectively counter Pharah in this fight, but also just maintaining their front line and maintaining a very intensive brawl comp.
Yeah, well, they're ready to brawl, they're ready to go. As they move on through, that hammer gets swung straight in the face of Maestro. He just walks back to it. Slick in a dangerous position here. Really easily focused down by Alweer Geboelie. And Mango Juice just not finding it into this team fight. Mito managing to get 2, but at the end of the fight, it is not going to give him the value he needs.
Yeah, but I think maybe, you know, you're looking at a situation where they can come back now with a couple of picks in hand and maybe still make this fight something viable for them. But, you know, it's a similar situation we saw with Luke, is that, you know, although they've got a very big advantage with the Pharah in the air, at the end of the day, they have to win the ground fight as well, otherwise it doesn't matter.
Well, let's see what they can do. Is once again setting to go into the line of Alweer Geboelie. 2 coalescence up on both sides. There's Death Blossom in the back line. Gets rid of Shadow Script. And now Like Luke just going to have all the fun in the world. Just going straight for the big man of the Reinhardt. And that's going to push them once again. Not winning that ground fight like they need to, though.
Yeah, I think, it's really nice play from the side of Like Luke there to get in there and really... Ooh. Condi actually sneaking in with the Widow there, switching off the Tracer. But, it's just good for them to use an ultimate, make sure they win out that fight. Because 17 seconds, end of point 2, it's a really difficult fight to even get to, let alone win.
Mito does have the rocket barrage. He's going to be wanting to try find an area where Condi can't focus him down.
Oh no, Slick, that's not what you want. He goes down, which means they're not going to have the structure they need in this fight, unless he can get up and get there very, very quickly.
Oh, Miss Jones does manage to get him back up. Resurrector's up. Slick still low on health. Ignoring Like Luke, who's just peppering that shotgun into the back of him. The barrage is still in play. Mito unable to get much value out of it. Does get rid of Like Luke, but that's not going to win you this fight. Only 2 left. And Zavania gets rid of Condi. So the 2 deadly DPSs of Condi and Luke are not involved. But it's still highly contested. But a beautiful power driver from Bandit says no more. And they are able to push this forward. I do not see them contesting this one.
No, and I don't think even if they could, they should. Because it will only be a minute and a half coming up on the clock for the side of Mango Juice here. And, you've got a couple of ults coming your way. You've got the Flux, you've got the Reaper ults. That's going to be a really nice combo to when you're out of fight and waste some time. And, that's just a good position to find yourself in altogether.
Yeah, Slick bringing out the Diva, just trying to get some backline coverage. Maybe just stop the Reaper from having so much of an impact there.
A little bit surprising though. Diva, a little bit of a weak pick into this double barrier setup here. But, we'll see if he can make it work.
I think at this point, the backline of Mango Juice is constantly being exposed to Like a Luke and Condi that, maybe just getting a little bit more backline protection is what they need.
Yeah, but in this fight, you're looking at something with diving onto Bandit's Wrecking Ball. It's going to be a little bit of a difficult thing to follow up into, because at the end of the day, he's going to get stuck into a fight with McCree and Reaper, ready to rain down on him.
Oh, and that does not what you want, losing that mech so early in the fight. The minefield not really having much of an effect and getting space control for Mango Juice. Mito does get rid of Condi though, and this is a nice little opening for Mango Juice to push on forwards, just like a Luke on the Reaper. Is going to get focused down, a little bit of a stagger, but spawn advantage is in Alweer Geboelie's favor.
Nice stagger to get Like Luke down though, because it's going to mean they have a little bit of extra push, and maybe that they don't have to, that they won't take a full fight here at all. So, nice play for there from Mango Juice to get into the next fight.
Oh, Maestro sets his shield in a dangerous position, and the supercharger's out. Like a Luke just cleans up Miss Jones with that Death Blossom. Slick surrounded, gets last minute saved by Bandit on this Wrecking Ball, and there we go. Dragon Strike does come through. Unable to find anyone, not really getting much space or value from it. The fight was almost all over. Overtime is on, and Bandit is the last one touching that point. It's all on Miss Jones just to get there and just touch it, just to reset that timer. Shadow Step comes with a nice Death Blossom, but only manages to find Tugo. And now with that Shadow Step is going to try to keep the dreams of Mango Juice alive in this point. Alweer Geboelie are looking strong. Condi throwing away that Death Blossom might not be the best, although he does manage to get rid of Shadow Step. And it is all on Bandit with that minefield once again on the point. Pale Native not too phased with the Roadhog, has that take a breather, but the payload moves forward. Sound Barrier is out. So much heal, so much sustain for Alweer Geboelie, and Mango Juice just not having the damage they need to win out this fight just yet. Noah's so low, but no follow up from Bandit. Swing around the payload. There he goes with the power driver. Pale Native launched in the sky. Again, Mango Juice just not giving the follow-up that they really need to keep themselves in this fight. Maybe the Self-Destruct can change that. It does manage to get rid of that Roadhog. That is huge. But then the Death Blaster from Like a Luke says no more value for you as the overtime comes down, and they manage to stall it out right before point 3.
Yeah, as much as it was a stall fight, you're looking at the compositions of the two teams here, and with the very entrenched bunker with the Reaper and the Roadhog and the rest of there, you think, the longer the fight goes on, the more likely they are to win it out. The ultimates like Supercharger and Death Blossom are such big fight swinging ultimates, that just give your team such a big potential to actually win the fight if used correctly, and that was the case there. You saw Luke just building up that ultimate, using it, almost for the second time in that fight, and it's just really good play to actually just clutch out that fight right at the end for his team.
Yeah, and as I said, like, there was just not enough follow-up from Mango Juice either. There were so many times that Bandit opened up space, created a nice moment for them, and no one else in Mango Juice's side was really ready for it or ready to just push in and aggressively engage it.
Yeah, and that's maybe a credit to the way that Alweer Geboelie was playing, is that, you know, there was so much pressure on the front line of Mango Juice that even if, you know, Bandit was creating space by going through them, at the back, you know, there's still a lot that they have to contend with to even get to where Bandit is.
Well, let's talk about their defense now, Blur.
Yeah, coming out here, coming out here, you're seeing a little bit of a strat we've seen a couple of times coming out from Alweer Geboelie. We're probably going to see that Symmetra teleporter come onto the top of the statue and bash it on top of that statue with a Sigma shield pointing down. Really, really difficult hero for them to deal with, and it might just give them a little bit of space to control, you know, the point area and get onto that point, which, you know, is something that they've struggled with when Mango Juice have been running a pretty strong brawl-intensive bunker comp. Here, though, they're running the Sigma, which means they've got a little bit more disruption. They're maybe going to look to rock that Bastion if he comes through here.
Well, let's see what they're doing. Exactly like you said. There we go. Bastion up onto the top of the statue. Has that Sigma shield in front of him. Really well coordinated from Alweer Geboelie. Although a nice little ice wall might just give them up. Slick pops his head out. Bastion says, I'm ready for you. But still, Condi not really finding the picks that he needs. But he is keeping Mango Juice from contesting this point, and the 3 ticks are going to come up nice and easy. A beautiful use of that Bastion on the high ground. They do go for the contest. The shields get instantly spammed down. Shadow Scope in the open gets found by the Bastion. It's just Slick left alive, and he's really trying to keep this going for his team. The main ward's going left, right, and center, but that Bastion just having too much value.
And that's just wonderful space control from the side of Alweer Geboelie, actually just making it impossible for the side of Mango Juice to even sit on the point. And, you know, once they eventually have to aggress, because otherwise they'll lose the point, you know, there's some turrets like Luke's tucked away in the corner. That's when they get their moment to shine. Absolutely chunking away at the tank's health behind them. And, you know, it's a really nice setup. It's clearly something they've rehearsed a couple of times now to this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's a practiced setup there, especially the Sigma shield coming out perfectly timed in the right location. They've been doing some practicing, I can tell you that.
And coming into this fight now, they'll have a couple of ults coming out, which might make it possible for them to just rush out this fight.
Oh, there's the giant wall with an invulnerability shield. Make sure that there's not going to be too much damage coming from Mango Juice. Coalescence is out. That could just help them out, push in there. Condi going down isn't quite what you want if you are Alweer Geboelie. As Nora low gets focused down. There's your supports out, and your front line follows.
Yeah, now you just got like Luke, you know, they're going to stagger him a little bit, but you can't let that Symmetra survive too long. It's just so much damage if you let him proc out that beam. But, you know, now you're sitting with a Bastion ultimate, a Sigma ultimate. You might be thinking, you know, we either have to get back on this cart in this fight, or we need to switch it up. And I'm quite surprised Mango Juice setting up so far back, because I would be expecting them to set up at the arch and really not give this Bastion any space to set up.
I mean, they are challenging that archway quite nicely, just making sure that when they come out, there is a bit of damage going into them. Although there is the Valkyrie out, and there's the Flux that follows. Damage units plus could have some value. The sound barrier just defends them and says no. Blizzard goes out, pushes them back, just zone control everywhere, but the configuration tank from Condi might just do it and seal Mango Juice's fate. However, yeah, it actually does.
That does clutch out that fight for them, and you know, really good ultimate usage there. Although they do use quite a lot to actually retake that point. They use the Valkyrie, the Coalesce, or the Valkyrie, the configuration tank, the Sigma ultimate, Gravitic Flux, and then the supercharger on top of that. You know, they do manage to just retake that point against the sound barrier and the Blizzard of Mango Juice. And you know, with the Bastion being able to set up in that aggression, though now they've actually switched out for a Torbjorn. Question mark?
I don't know if this is a troll pick or if they just wanted to play Torbjorn at least once in this game, but there's a Gravitic Flux from Slick. Shadowswift going down so early, not exactly what you want. Amplification Matrix just doing the work. Nice little wall, make sure there's no more value from that. And now they need a push forwards, but a little bit of an ice wall from Like a Luke. Might just keep his team alive. Goes in with the Blizzard in the backline. Manages to free Slick. This is a beautiful attack from Alweer Geboelie. And they are looking to go straight on through and not even think twice about Mango Juice's defense.
Yeah, and I think that's a really nice, you know, a good display of the right type of aggression, because it's now put them in a situation where, you know, 4 minutes on the time bank, and this is last chance saloon for Mango Juice here. They have to get here and just absolutely win this fight. Otherwise, this game is, well, this map is over for them.
Oh, there we go. Shadow Script with a nice Death Blossom into the background. Gets rid of the Tourbillon and the support of Tugal. And now it's up to the rest of his team to make use of what he's given them. As they just push forward onto Maestro and Shadow Script having the time of his life.
Still a very, very difficult 4 minutes ahead of them here. 4 minutes for what must be, 10 meters at most? That's very, very difficult to hold, especially when you're diving with a ball and a Winston into what, a May and a Tourbillon is a pretty chunky composition to dive into.
Yeah, that shot's kind of scary.
Yeah, and there you've also got the Gravitic Flux and the Molten Core coming out, so you're probably going to have a win condition here for Alweer Geboelie. If they can get those two ultimates out, that's a very winnable fight for them.
I mean, you're going to be looking at Bandits to try get some value, get some environmental damage. Molten Core just zoning out nicely. Gravitic Flux is not going to find anyone. A Blizzard, though, in the middle does freeze them, but a nice little Ice Wall from Michael who keeps his team alive through that Blizzard. And then counters with his own Blizzard, now finding the value that they need. Mango Juice losing members left, right, and center as only the Cryptic Freeze keeping this payload from moving on forwards. And now, low wall, Mito doing as much stalling as he can on his own. Is going to go down very shortly. Slick not aside too long on his own, but has the primal rage in hand. It gets frozen mid-range. That's not what you want to see. The Coalescence too late to save his life. And now only tries to keep Shadowscript alive. Miss Jones skating around the point is not going to have the best time. Nice little minefield. Might just throw them out and be what they need. But no value yet. They need to start capitalizing on the space that Banner is creating for them. Finally, Mito gets involved. Gets for the Pale Native. There's one shield down. Condi goes shortly after. Nice little ice spike to the head. And that's going to be it. Tugal running away with her wings flying behind her.
Not the type of fight you would call convincing for the side of Mango Juice here, but the more of these they manage to stack up, the more pressure will start to crank out on Alweer Geboelie. You're looking at a fight, at the next fight now, it's only 2 minutes left. One more fight and it could be a minute and a half, minutes, maybe even like 30 seconds, and then it gets really dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, the front line of Mango is doing so well right now, creating so much space for their team. And there we go. Blizzard is out once again. Likely going to have his Blizzard up as well. Does throw out his own counter Blizzard. Not just yet. He uses that Cryptic Freeze instead. He is alone, and that's probably a good hold on his part. It's just Condi alive, and the stagger is there. Has to kill himself to make sure that it isn't too bad a stagger.
And that's really smart from Luke. Saving that ultimate, he's probably going to be saving it so you can use it with the Flux or use it with the Reaper ults. And that's, that's going to be a win condition for them, especially because Mango Juice will not have that ultimate again probably within this next minute.
Mito's been really good at getting the ultimate up, and there is a Death Blossom for Mango Juice as they look to defend this once again. The double shields is out. Bandit going with his strategy of flying through the backline. Is not caught by the Blizzard. Like a loose Blizzard, not having too much value. Only managed to get Mito, but a sound barrier from Miss Jones keeps them alive and able to sustain through this fight. There we go with the... gets taken out by Condi, who says, I'm the only one who can Death Blossom here. And this is all but over for Alweer Geboelie as Mango Juice find themselves without anyone left.
And it's just unfortunate for Mango Juice there. They did so much good work on that last point, but it's the 2 points before that really sold them short. They didn't get a good defense on those first 2 points, and that really puts Alweer Geboelie in such a good position to actually just take this game.
Yeah, if they had stalled out a little bit longer in this section, I mean, granted, Alweer Geboelie came out firing, used their ultimates beautifully, really did zone out the defense of Mango Juice. But if they had stalled that out, they would have had less time on the clock, and they probably could have actually taken it to overtime.
Yeah, and again, it's just that even if you're still even if you're taking the same fights with a minute less on the clock, you're in a situation where the pressure starts to mount. It's nerve-wracking, and while players like Luke and Condi might be used to that pressure, the other players on their team might not be in the same way.
Well, final map now is going to be Li Jiang back to control point. Got a little bit more space for mobility and double shields, so we can see a mix of both. We've seen both of those bunker busters, dives, and double shields come out throughout this. What are you expecting here?
Well, I think from the side of, I think this is a map that very much suits Mango Juice's playstyle. You have the option for the Orisa Reinhardt that they were so strong on the earlier maps of Hanamura and of Dorado. Dorado?
Yeah.
Do I have the wrong map here? Yeah. Where you know, that's going to probably be what we see a lot of inside the control center, and probably on Night Market as well. But it also plays into the dive, the ball Winston dive that they played so well on numerous occasions here. Also on Hanamura, just controlling that second point, and that just lets them take advantage of Bandit's strengths. From the side of Alweer Geboelie, however, this is a very nice place for them to flex their muscles in the DPS side, even if they just stick to the Orisa Sigma that they've been quite comfortable to stick on for most of this game. You know, we're probably going to see a little bit of Pharah, a little bit of possibly a little bit of Hitscan, lots of Mei, lots of Reaper. You know, it's the type of map that Luke and Condi will thrive in, because it's something that lets them flex around and force the other team to compensate for, you know, what they're throwing at them.
Yeah, lots of space for them to just go mad in. Have you ever been to a Night Market, Blur?
I haven't, actually. I expected it to be a little bit more busy than this one. It's just a big open courtyard over here. But I suppose, you know, there is the bit around the side that's...
I mean, it's raining, you know.
Yeah, everyone's home.
When it's raining.
You know, there's gunshots in the area. You don't really want to be in this area of town this time of night.
No. It was a bad place to put a Night Market.
Really, honestly. But yeah, looking at the two teams coming at you, you're going to see Leica Luke and Condi's, or in Alweer Geboelie, coming at you, teleporting straight to point and just trying to control that space. Bandits and Co here on the side of Mango Juice, they're going to be running a bit of a bunker bust, a bit of a Sombra, a bit of a Genji. You know, the Nano Blade and the Wrecking Ball serving to just play a lot of hard disrupt.
Looks like Alweer Geboelie have made their way to that point first, so it's going to be on Mango Juice to try disrupt them instead. As Bandit comes from the back, goes flying through, not getting much value, is supported by Slick on that Winston, but Slick gets focused down almost immediately, and Product Grenade is out, but no real follow-up from Mango Juice puts this point firmly in Alweer Geboelie's control.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the side of Mango Juice, what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to stack up ults, hopefully after 1 or 2 fights, because they're going to have to use it to take back this point, and then once they're in the open space bit, you already see the Sombras being switched out for the Pharah here, you know, but once they get in the open space, it might be a little bit easier for them to control the space.
Well, let's see what Mito can do. He doesn't have to worry about hit scan to challenge him in the sky. He's going to be able to pop over and just get some nice damage going as the dive is out. And Mito goes up high, ready to spam on down. Not really getting value. Does manage to find Leica Luke eventually. A little bit of a trade on either side, but it seems that Mango Juice is not ready to really engage this, and Mito jumps into the abyss.
Death come, I'm not a
Or falls into the abyss? He was already in the sky.
Well, yeah, you're looking at a situation where they're really just getting compressed here. It's a really nice play from Alweer Geboelie here to not let Mango Juice take the fight they want to take. The Winston of Slick is getting, like, it's a really tough engagement for him to take. No matter how good the space being created by Bandit is here, he's always just going to be diving into a Sigma, diving into a Symmetra, and diving into a Reaper, which fundamentally not going to be a comfortable fight for him to take.
Yeah, I think the front line needs to be reworked, and as we say that, the Orisa does come out, because that Winston's just not getting any real value. He's not creating space, he's not using space, he's just getting immediately focused down.
And this might be a little bit nicer for Slick as well, because it might just, you know, even though you're still running the Wrecking Ball, it's a little bit more survivability, which lets this front line just sustain a little bit easier.
Oh, nice little Dragon Blade into the back though from Shadowscript, supported by Mito. Just throws Alweer Geboelie's defense into a race. No one yet to go down, still holding on to 2 of those ultimates, and they get the flip.
And that's a really nice position for them to find themselves in. They only used the 2 ultimates there or the 3 ultimates there to get the points, and they still have the Barrage, the Minefield, and the Coalescence, you know, to take them into a fight, which is going to be a little bit difficult with the Death Blossom, Flux, and the wall coming out from through them, not to mention the Supercharger.
Yeah, it's a hard fight. Alweer Geboelie going to be running in hot with those ultimates. Ooh, Mito with the Barrage and a nice little boop off, gets rid of Pale Native as well, and Condi just says, alright, I'm out.
Yeah, he knows the value of a quick reset. Control so important to actually just reset cleanly and get back on point. But again, that's really nice from the side of Mango Juice, using 1 ultimate there and getting, you know, 20 to 30% from that.
Yeah, but now they are facing up against 5 ultimates for Alweer Geboelie.
Yeah, very difficult position for them to find themselves in. But if they keep getting picked up, they'll never get picked off. They won't ever get the opportunity to use those ultimates.
This is true. Bandit also waiting with that Minefield just to drop down and shut down that entrance. I'm assuming that's the zone he would go for the Minefield.
Yeah, I think the advantage of the position he's in right now is also that it gives them the opportunity to scout spawn. He can see where they're pushing in to actually get into position to rotate against them.
Oh, but the minefield doesn't matter if you have a teleport available and a nice little overshield. Pennsylvania pops that coalition, trying to keep it alive, but Shadow Script, not Shadow Script, Condi with that Death Blossom now this time round, supported by the Supercharger. All the else thrown out from Alweer Geboelie, going back to their lack of ultimate control.
Well, I mean, you say that, but at the end of the day, that's what they needed. They needed this point with 12%, and the stagger on Bandit means that, you know, Mangajuice isn't going to be able to take another clean fight.
This is true. I didn't even consider the percentage left on the clock. That throwing all those ultimates out probably would have just won them around, which it did.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of good management from the side of Alweer Geboelie. They just kept their resources, they baited out a couple of ults, and then they won it simply off, you know, just having more in the bank than Mangajuice did. You know, obviously taking those early fights so emphatically meant that, you know, Mangajuice didn't get the opportunity to build up that percentage on point that Alweer Geboelie did, and the fact that it took them to 88 to get their first fights, you know, where they had the control of points, it just meant that Alweer Geboelie had such a clear win condition, and they were able to just, you know, use their experience and use this little bit of intelligence to make that count.
But now onto the I can't remember the name of this one.
Gardens.
That's the one, onto Gardens, where that mobility of the Winston and the Wrecking Ball could actually be quite useful here. Slick still using that Orisa.
Yeah, it's going to be nice for, again, it's nice for Slick to just anchor the fight a little bit easier. You know, diving into that Reaper has been a consistently bad idea for this team, so, you know, it's good to see that they're learning from their mistakes and just making a little bit better use of space. With the disruption they have with Bandit here and, you know, the static front line, it actually works really nicely to just wedge Alweer Geboelie between the two damage sources.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they did as Mito, getting some nice value. Bandit just punching Maestro in the face with these tiny hamster fans.
And, you know, you see Condi actually getting zoned out of the fight there. You know, Bandit pushing the rest of his team towards the front line of Slick, and Condi getting stuck on the bridge there, not really being able to effectively counter Mito, as he has to duck out of the fight a lot. Condi on that soldier, you know, you do have a lot of utility with the soldier, the heal, the rockets, and, you know, the sprint to give you a little bit of extra movement speed, but, you know, he's not really going to be able to take out a Pharah all on his lonesome.
He is going to have space challenged by Like a Luke, though.
Yeah, coming into this next fight, though, that's going to be a really interesting thing to see, is that Like a Luke coming onto the Pharah of his own, obviously such a well-known Pharah as well. Mito and Like a Luke going to be dueling it out in the skies, and Condi might just be the edge for Alweer Geboelie here, just ticking down at that Pharah while they're in their duel.
Let's see what they can do as Maestro sets his shield, pushes into the shields of Mango Juice, and now onto the point. Coalescence is there. Maestro is low. Bandit swings on through and says no more for you, as finally Pale Native and Condiv fall. And now it's just Like a Luke in the sky, but Mito winning that fight, and Tugo follows.
Yeah, and I think that's really a good play from Mito over there. You saw what happened once the fights actually engaged. Was Mito actually abandoned that duel with Luke. He went there and he just started spamming into the corridor. And with Condi there, stuck in that tunnel with the rest of his team, there wasn't really much hit scan presence pressuring the Pharah, which means that the Reaper of Shadow script was winning that ground fight for the side of Mango Juice, since Condi couldn't have the same value.
Yeah, well, he's still going to be running that soldier. He does have the tack visor up, so let's see what value he can get, as once again Maestro pushes through, but Mito in the back there with a nice barrage gets rid of the front line. That's all but over. Zenora not going to survive too long, and the rest of the team fall. Alweer Geboelie not having a great time. You did see Condi try and get some space to challenge Mito, but Mito wasn't even near him.
Yeah, and that's actually really good credit to Mango Juice here, is that, ooh, Bandits knocking Maestro off the map there to just stop them getting onto the point to contest. But, you know, Mango Juice, they're playing really smart Overwatch. You know, Mito in that situation swapped places with Bandit. Bandit actually went onto the bridge area to zone out the Soldier 76 of Condi, and thus, you know, completely invalidate any value he might have tried to get with his ultimate. You know, and that's really good prediction. It's really good ult prediction. They knew that the tactical visor was there, so they made sure that he couldn't get any value from it. And they knew that Mito had his rocket barrage, so they just pumped that damage into the bridge over there and make it possible for, you know, them to actually just win that round without even having to worry about those ultimates. Coming into this one now, you're going to see a very brawl-intensive comp coming out from both sides. Actually, a plain mirror match. You know, it's that Orisa Ryan comp that we were talking about earlier, and you know, it's going to be a kind of does the very, brawl intensive frontline of Mango Juice win this, or does the really strong DPS of Alweer Geboelie actually win out?
Yeah, I think in terms of just pure frontline, this is a Mango Juice battle to win. Although, if you're letting Condi into the backline like that, it's not going to work out too well. Condi getting behind, huge value, and a team wipe to boot as the point unlocks, and Alweer Geboelie going to get the first capture.
And that's really nice use of the space from the side of Alweer Geboelie there. Luke showing a little bit of experience just to stop Mango Juice being able to take up the power position on that white high ground there. And that means that, they're able to then just have the advantage in that fight. Condi's able to take up some space behind them, and that's a lot of damage coming in, a lot of ult charge coming in for both Luke and Condi. Puts them in a severe advantage coming into the next fight.
Ooh, a little bit of a mistime war there from Mito. Make sure that the team is just going to get completely focused down. Oh, and I'm not too sure, Condi, if that was the best place to use your Death Blossom, but it's just Slick left alive.
Yeah, they do manage to bait out the coalescence from Zevania there, but it's a little bit more of an extension on the side of Alweer Geboelie, getting the Shatter and the Death Blossom both out. Then the Death Blossom arguably too late to really have its purest value.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a weird one. Mito not having the best of time with these Ice Wars, and the beautiful counter wall from Like Luke just isolates them down. Bandit with an Earth Shatter goes in. Like Luke goes down, but the Blizzard was already thrown out, and that's gonna be it. Just using this choke beautifully. Alweer Geboelie shutting down any opportunity Mango Juice has of getting through.
It's a good idea from Bandit there to use the Earth Shatter to just simply time out the Blizzard, try and shatter something, make sure that it can't get up and finish the fights. You see similar Earth Shatters being used when teams are caught in Graviton Surges, but it's only catches like Luke, and with Condi still up, with Pale still up, and with Maestro still up, it's a lot of damage that you just can't respond to.
They're gonna try once again, like a Luke, not getting that wall exactly where he needs to do, and a nice Blizzard from Mito. Catches Pale Native, who goes down, but Condi responds with a Death Blossom, and it's just Miss Jones alive once again. Condi, the savior of Alweer Geboelie right now with that Reaper.
That's a tale of two bullies in this situation, or tale of two Reapers in this situation, with Condi and Shadow Script having completely different rounds. Condi on his just getting off his second Blossom there, but Shadow Script only managing to get to his first now.
Well, Bandit making his way all the way back. Just want to get that overtime clicking as he's going to just spin around with that Wise. This is given an opening. Hoisting it down to the point. Mito getting some value with the Doomfist. Gets rid of the Reaper. And there's no Shatter from Pale Native. And that's a huge Shatter. It's only Bandit left to try contest him. And they do manage to get rid of him. That is going to be a flip. But they have to hold this and hold it with their life.
And now they're trying to hold one of the tightest, brawliest points in the game with a bit of a dive comp, and that's going to be a very, very tough ask for them here. But, if they want to get to that final today, that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to hold this to 99-99 and win it out there. Ooh, but Slick getting picked up very, very early in that fight.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see. You don't want to see that Diva disappearing like that. Bandit trying to get a sneaky environmental kill in the back there, but unable to do much, and now makes his way back to the point just to try keep his team in this fight. Mito gets rid of Zenora. That's a good pick. No more supports for you, but the Blizzard is going to zone out, keep Bandit from having any real value with that grappling claw. Slick makes his way back now, just trying to push them off, but Alweer Geboelie are firmly in control of this fight. It's Miss Jones and Zenora. Zevania, last two alive. Try and keep this alive. Shadow Script is alone, and he only has that Shadow Step ready to move himself around as Miss Jones just skating on top of the center of that control point. Eventually, Mango Juice get the numbers on the point, but I Am Condi is there with the Death Blossom and says no more. Adaptive Shield not enough for Bandit as he is just charged out of the zone by Pale Native. And now once again Slick alone, a stagger for Mango Juice. They really want to keep this alive as long as possible, but it might not be happening for them as the flip is on and overtime hits the board. Mito gets immediately shut down. Bandit once again swings on through, trying to really just drive his team forward with their power driver, but Coalescence and Condi prove to be too much, and that's gonna be it. And this goes to Alweer Geboelie.
That's a really good game from Alweer Geboelie there, showing just a little bit of class, a little bit of, they know what they're doing here. They know exactly how to set up for these fights. And it's really good ult usage throughout. It's really good, just manipulation of the space, especially in this control center, at the very end. And just really good, like, intelligent play. You know, Condi using that Death Blossom just as Bandit was coming down with the Minefield absolutely stops the Minefield from even existing in the, like, as an active entity in that fight. You know, 91% kill participation for Condi. What a game from him.
Yeah, he was the savior of Alweer Geboelie on that final map, because I think we've seen how strong Mango Juice is on that Brawl comp that they were playing, and it was Condi just shutting them down a lot of the time and just saying, no, you're not going to get through this choke. And then, like I said, running the dive against the Brawl on the defense, just not going to have the value that they needed. And unfortunately for them, Alweer Geboelie came out on top.
Yeah, and that's Alweer Geboelie now heading to the finals for a rematch against Toxic Crocs, who just beat them out in the last group game yesterday to go for 3-2, looking for, like, to actually get them into the semifinals. So that's a really nice Group 1 rematch coming up later. And in the other final, you're having Team Poggy Woggy playing against their second place team, Mango Juice. You know, and that's a Group 2 rematch, seeing who can clutch that one out to come third in their stage.
Yeah, so two amazing finals coming up for you. You got third, fourth playoff coming up next. As Blur was saying, it is going to be Poggy Woggy taking on Mango Juice, the grudge match of Group 2. So you guys come back here in the next half an hour. Is that 2 or 3? It's at 3.
It's at 3, yeah. So hour and a half.
An hour and a half. So an hour and a half, come back here to this Twitch channel or the YouTube channel, wherever you're watching, for your third, fourth playoff of the Talon Cup. As for now, I have been Trinok. Thanks so much for watching. Blur, do you want to say a final word?
Oh, actually, I wanted to ask Trinok, before we go, who was your man of the match for today?
Oh, I'm going to say Bandit, just because of how much he did and how little value his team... He gave his team so much value that they just never used. He was like handing them mangoes and for free, and they were like, but we want to buy these mangoes.
You know, he was handing them the mangoes and they just weren't able to juice them. It's a really good performance from him. And, you know, a lot of credit has to go for both teams. It was a really entertaining game and it really went down to the wire.
Yeah, who was your man of match?
I would actually say on the other side, you know, you can't discount a performance like I Am Condi's in this match. You know, really strong performance, especially in that last match on that Reaper, to absolutely just give his team the biggest advantage they could have.
Yeah, no, Condi definitely was a game changer. I mean, you even saw it on Hanamura. He was stalling them out so long on the fence. He's going to be something that you need to worry about. If you are in Toxic Crocs, that's your worry there, is the DPS combo.
Yeah, and so, yeah, to everyone watching, thank you for watching. Remember to come back at 3 o'clock for the third and fourth playoff, and at 6 o'clock for the final between Alweer Geboelie and Toxic Crocs.